Let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey, yeah, ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm cash.
Welcome back, everybody. Jaysin Static with another episode of the interview series. I am Jaysin Static, and you, sir, again are
Rynar the Hooligan, the last Yams Viking.
How long have you been in the business at this point?
A little over 18 months.
Still 18 months. Still 18 months from the last time we've done this, but we're going to do it again. Ready for your next question?
All right.
What is an unpopular wrestling opinion you hold without revealing anybody's names, company names, or anything like that? And what logic do you have to back that unpopular opinion up?
Okay. I am not a fan of deathmatch wrestling. I find it to be, for lack of a better word, monkey porn.
Okay. Explain.
Okay, cool. I can totally do that. We can take a lot of wrestlers and use them as an example. Like, take a guy like Nick Gage.
Okay.
Okay. If you put him with somebody that can work in a regular setting, you can pull a good match out of him.
Okay.
But in a deathmatch setting, he is a national name because, in my opinion, those who can't wrestle, deathmatch wrestle because it doesn't take any type of talent to brawl and throw chairs and swing, barbed wire bats and light tubes. These are all things that we've all done.
Right.
It doesn't take any talent to be that type of wrestler. It's
Okay.
I find it useless. I think it hurts the sport in general.
Now, what if they had, is it because, for lack of a better knowing, because I don't watch a lot of it, I like watching it sometimes in certain contexts. I know a handful of people that do it, but what's the purpose, what's the logic and your reasoning behind it other than it doesn't take skill?
Because it's gratuitous violence for the fact of gratuitous violence. You're not telling a story. Okay. In a death match. You're literally going for shock value in a death match.
Okay.
I mean, it's the same way it was there are a few death matches that I watch that I really enjoy. Uh-huh. The death match tournament in Japan with Foley and Terry Funk.
Okay.
But that death match told a story.
Right.
It wasn't, we're going to do C4 pads and beds of nails and barbed wire ropes and beds of tacks. Okay, why? What part of your story has brought you here? I don't like the guy. Okay, that's why you wrestle him. Doing all of this is nonsensical. It's not needed unless you're in a story where one of you is literally fighting for your life.
So do you think it's the lack of story?
I think it's the lack of story, and I think that it's there used to be guys in the deathmatch circuit that could work. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you take into consideration that, like, if we go back even to like the late 80s, early 90s, and you have FMW. I think there was another one over in Japan called War, maybe it was.
War, Wrestle Association R, Wrestle and Romance.
But there was a lot of those, and they did that. Hell, they were pretty much the pioneers of that kind of stuff.
They were, but they were also telling stories. With it. The King of the Deathmatch tournament where Mick Foley beat Terry Funk, there was a story to that.
Okay.
There was a story throughout that entire tournament. All the way up until the very end, whenever Mick Foley and Terry Funk are crawling around after the ring exploded, yelling for each other.
Right.
They took each other to the distance.
Right.
And now they have to bring it back. How do you do that? You take something inhuman that they just did to each other. You add that, okay, it just happened. Where are you? Are you okay?
Okay.
Yeah. There was still that realism to it. Now, and I'm going to use this as an example, CZW.
Okay.
CZW, for a few years, CZW put on good wrestling matches. I mean, CZW is partially responsible, if not mostly responsible, for MJF.
Yeah.
The whole Jersey scene out there.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these matches were ultra violence for the sake of ultra violence.
Okay.
When I go to a wrestling show, I expect to see a wrestling match. If they want to do a hardcore match, okay, cool. You still have a story to tell.
Okay.
But when I show up and they've taken down the ropes and they've put up barbed wire and light tubes and there's 400 light tubes around the ring, You know, there's 2 full bales of barbed wire being used, and oh yeah, no, these guys just started their angle a month or 2 ago, and then this is where they went. How the fuck do you go from starting an angle to I'm gonna kill you in 2 months?
Okay.
And you go into a match where you know it's not about the spots, it's not about the story. The crowds don't go to those matches for story.
Right.
They go for bloodshed.
Okay.
They go for violence.
Right.
And that's what it is. Let's think back a name. Nick Mondo and Wife Beater.
Yeah.
They had a story, but they were also gratuitous violence for the sake of gratuitous violence.
Right.
Tons of respect for Sick Nick and you know, Wife Beater.
Right.
They were pioneers, but they told a story.
Right.
Where they lost me is whenever they started breaking out the Weed Eater.
Okay.
Because that was when we got to something gratuitous for the shock value.
Right.
Not to add to the match, but to pop the crowd.
Okay.
If you want that pop, work for it.
Okay.
Actually work for it. Because anybody can get a pop from breaking a light bulb on somebody.
Right.
Anybody can get a pop from whipping their opponent into a barbed wire rope. You're going to get that pop whenever you tie up.
Okay.
You're going to get that same pop whenever you do a little chain wrestling.
Okay.
You're going to get that same pop whenever you go into your first spot.
Right. Okay.
You know, I don't see it as being a type of wrestling that requires any real skill. You just have to have a violent mind and the balls to go through with what you think of.
Right. Now, do you think if the deathmatch scene in today's form, not, you know, CZW of the past, because I don't think CZW really does a lot of that stuff anymore.
Yeah, they still do their
occasionally.
tournament.
They still do the tournament, but they don't really. It's not the whole show's not based.
It's story driven now.
You know, it's everything's story driven. So, do you think if the majority of, say, the deathmatch companies and stuff like that incorporated more story into it, you think
might be more tolerable, but at the same time, we still need guidelines,
right,
for these things. Like we, above all else, we're professional wrestlers.
Right.
I am not a stuntman, not in the technical sense of the word.
Okay.
You know, like, yes, I'm a stuntman. I go out in front of the crowd. I got one take. I do my thing.
Right.
I have not been trained to get beaten up with barbed wire. I don't have safety precautions to keep mercury away from me whenever light bulbs explode.
Right.
I don't, and again, you know, let's be honest. If something goes wrong in one of those matches, most people don't have the money to pay for those.
They are
types of
very,
injuries.
very high risk.
They're very high risk. Yes. And injuries are almost guaranteed when you go into a death match because you move wrong. You're going to take the bump wrong. I mean, we both see matches where guys have taken bumps onto bed of nails. The secret to a bed of nails: land on it as flat as possible.
Right.
That way, one nail doesn't have any room to go in and do damage.
Mm-hmm.
But how many times have we seen that go wrong?
Yeah.
And a guy's spurting blood out of a nail wound that shouldn't be there.
Well, the best example would be David Arquette.
David Arquette almost killed him.
David Arquette had that. It was a death match, and he got sliced on his neck by one of the fucking light tubes.
Almost fucking died.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me that took talent?
Yeah. I can get your reasoning. I think. See, we grew up in an age when ECW came about, and ECW was really kind of like the pioneer of
hardcore wrestling.
of hardcore in that in America,
yeah.
And they were just essentially just taking shit from
Japan,
from FMW, where they were already full blown into the deathmatch scenes.
Yeah, they'd already gone from like the hardcore to the ultra violent wrestling.
Right, and then so like I grew up watching this stuff, the hardcore scene, and then even when the CZW came around. And the ultra violent, and then you have XPW and all these other companies and stuff that were doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching it, and I could understand it, and I liked it. I liked the violence of it. But then, even as I've grown up, and I'm in my 40s now, like I don't watch it as much anymore. But I do know a handful of people that do it, and I respect them.
Nothing but respect. I got mad
respect for the people that do it. But also at the same time, it goes back to what you were saying. I do wish that they would tell more story.
Yeah, look, if you want to go out there and do a death match and you want to tell a story the way that they used to, I'll watch you.
Okay.
But if you're going out there and you're just putting hardcore spot after hardcore spot and building up to an ultra violent spot just so you can get the crowd to stand on their feet, really need to sit back and think about what you're doing in the wrestling business, because that's not wrestling. You know, the crowd will be there if you make them invest in you.
Right.
I want the crowd to invest in me as a character. I don't want the crowd to invest in me walking out to the ring with a railroad spike like Sabu and jabbing people in the head. I don't want the crowd to pop because I got a handful of skewers and I'm bashing into my opponent's head to get a little bit of color.
Right.
Where's that normal?
Okay.
That to me that feeds that niche part of humanity that's like the type of people that drive by a car accident and they're like, "Excuse me, officer, can you bring that mangled chap a little closer? I can't see him."
Yeah, I need to get a picture of this.
Right. Like there's something going on up here that it's not firing right.
Okay.
I know guys that do deathmatch wrestling. I'll never take anything away from them. They're great guys. I love them. I respect them. I respect what they do. I don't respect the genre they do.
Okay. That makes sense, man. I don't think we need to go any further than that, because you've pretty much said your feeling. I'm a mixed bag of it. I like it. I don't like it. Sometimes I like it.
Well, like the most recent thing that I talked about, it wasn't even an ultra-violent spot. It was a stupid spot. And it was a stupid spot for the sake of popping the crowd. Billy Starks did a plunge off the top rope to the outside of the ring. Guy sitting in a chair just like me. He moves. She takes a full-on back bump into that chair. Why is that stupid? Why are you going to gamble with your career like that? You're young. You got a whole life ahead of you in the wrestling business.
Okay.
Why are you going to do something stupid and put it on the line?
Okay.
Because guys like Darby Allin made that cool.
Okay. All right, man. Let me know. Let the fans know where they can find you. Social medias.
Social media, you can find me at Rynar the Hooligan or at RynarOfficial. You can go to RynarOfficial.com. That'll link you to all my socials, all my merchandise pages. It'll link you to pro wrestling tees. And
Upcoming matches?
Upcoming matches. You can usually catch me every month at IEW, Illinois Elite Wrestling.
Yes, sir.
You can usually catch me pretty regularly at New Genesis Wrestling. And you can catch me every month at IWA Productions in Mount Vernon.
Alrighty, man. We're going to run this out just like we always do. Jaysin Static across all social media. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Check me out. Facebook, YouTube for Fight Club Wrestling Academy. That's where we're at right now. We're right here on YouTube. Run these comments up. Let me know if you agree or disagree with what Rynar says.
Let me have it.
Whether you're a deathmatch fan or not a deathmatch fan.
So let me have it right there in the comments.
That's what helps this whole show. That's what helps this thing grow bigger. We're trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark, and run it up in the comments. Let me know about it. And then last but not least, the super secret thing that I don't know when I'm going to drop it, but I'm going to drop it hopefully soon. And I'm not even going to tell you the name of it, but it's a merchandise site. But Rynar knows about it. I know about it. The rest of the Fight Club crew guys know about it, but they're sworn to secrecy on this. And we can't talk about it. It's super secret. It's almost secret like Fight Club secret. We can't talk about this, but we know about it. And when I drop it, it's going to be fucking awesome. Appreciate you, Rynar. Thanks, man.
Absolutely, man.
And hopefully you don't get beat up because of this comment.
You know what? Look, like I said, if you're a deathmatch wrestler, nothing against you. I respect you. I respect what you go out there and put your body through. I just don't respect the genre of wrestling.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, guys. Hope you guys tune in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Rynar, take it easy, man.
Cheers.